Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So the year is 2022. We have a brand new release from Gucci. Here we have the brand new Gucci Guilty Parfum pour Homme. Now, a couple years ago in 2020, we had the Eau de Parfum pour Homme. Here we have a stronger concentration. You can tell the old bottle is in a frosted glass looking bottle, and the new one has a luster to it. It's a bit more shiny. So I'm not going to make this a comparison video, but it is a review. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the brand new Gucci Guilty Parfum pour Homme, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin this video and I give you my thoughts on the brand new Gucci fragrance, Gucci Guilty Parfum pour Homme, and I tell you about this fragrance, what it smells like, what notes really jump out at me, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. It would mean so much to me. Make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell icon, and please give this video a thumbs up because it will help other people discover my content. And if you take something of value from this video, it would mean a lot to me if you can do all of those things. So here we have a brand new fragrance, Gucci Guilty Parfum pour Homme. This is one, and I'm referring to the Eau de Parfum. This is one that actually left me scratching my head a little bit when it was released because it had like a salt and vinegar accord. So it has like a balsamic vinegar accord, but it is very fresh. I likened it to the smell of the original Gucci Guilty. So you guys know the original is very citrusy. It has like a lavender type opening. It's aromatic. And this one is a very close sibling, not a distant cousin. Of course, you have fragrances like Gucci Guilty Oud, which was kind of like an oud raspberry kind of a fragrance. I love that fragrance. And you also have Gucci Guilty Absolute, which was a very dark, smoky, somewhat leathery fragrance. Well, here we kind of have a flanker of a flanker, if you will. So here we have, of course, Gucci Guilty Eau de Parfum pour Homme, and here we have the Parfum or the Pure Parfum, whatever you want to call it. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the smell and also just let you know how close it comes to the Eau de Parfum while not engaging in too much of a comparison and a contrast in this video. But let's go ahead and start things off with a quick look at the presentation. Okay, so with Gucci Guilty Parfum pour Homme, it opens up with a ton of citrus, right? So you have the lemon in here. In the heart, there's also this note of orange flower. So it's classified as an ambery floral kind of a fragrance. And usually when I think of amber, I think of balsamic ingredients. I think of resins like benzoin or labdanum. And yes, there is cistus in here. And I also think of vanilla because a lot of ambers do have a bit of vanilla to sort of sweeten things up, make it a little bit more amicable. But in the case of this fragrance, you don't have that sweetness. There is absolutely nothing sweet about this fragrance. And so if you thought of amber and you sort of put that idea in your mind, you can defenestrate that, right? It's like, no, you're not going to get anything sweet in this fragrance. However, it does open up very bright, very fresh. It kind of has like this traditionally masculine, contemporary, modern quality about it. It does have an aromatic property to it, and I think the lavender has a lot to do with that. So it's lavender, it's lemon, you have this orange flower note in here that really sort of kind of breaks things up and creates a bit of distance between the cistus that you're going to find in the base and the citrus that you're going to find in the opening. Of course, it gets a little bit woodsy as well, which is something that can be said about the original, the Intense version, the Eau de Parfum version, and now the Pure Parfum version. So you do kind of have that bridge that sort of creates that connection among all of them. And the same way that this fragrance is a close cousin or a sibling, actually, because I think the relationship is a lot stronger, the way that this is a sibling of the Eau de Parfum, I think this can also be viewed as a sibling of the original. And so this is a true flanker in the sense that I think the formula has been manipulated only a little bit, right? Now, I don't think it's changed in the sense that this one is going to give you beast mode performance and it's going to last so much longer. I don't think that that's the case. You might get an hour or two over the Eau de Parfum, but I know for a lot of people that's going to be negligible. I think the way that this is different is that there's more of an emphasis on the base notes, which is something you're not going to get right away, right? So in the opening, you're going to get the lemon, you're going to get the lavender, you're going to get a little bit of juniper, which can also give you like a cedar wood vibe. So it's a little aromatic, it's a little astringent, it can also have like the spicy, woodsy quality about it. Then, of course, once you give it a chance to settle down, some of those ambery facets will start to be brought to the fore, namely the cistus, and you're going to get a little bit of that warm, exotic, sort of resinous, ambery quality alongside the orange flower in here, and I think it's really, really well done. Now, my wife loved this one. I actually purchased my bottle for full retail from ulta.com. I'm gonna leave links down below in case you're interested in checking it out. It like literally just came out a week ago or something like that, and I purchased it right away. And my wife loves this one, but she also loves the original, and she also likes Gucci Guilty Black. That's one of her like favorite flankers from the line. Loves it every time I wear it, and that one has a really nice emphasis on the citrus. So the one thing that can be said about Gucci fragrances, and of course I think Alessandro Michele, who is the new creative director following the creative direction of Frida Giannini, I think he wanted to pay homage to the original Gucci Guilty by not really manipulating the formula too much, but making these subtle tweaks that make it a true flanker, which is something that's very admirable, something that's very commendable. Listen, if you're a young gentleman, you want a scent that smells classy, professional, youthful, not in the vein of a Dior Sauvage or Prada Luna Rossa Carbon or Versace Dylan Blue or these other fragrances that kind of combine the bergamot and broxin and pepper thing, this one marches to the beat of its own drum. It's quite similar to the original. It's a compliment getter. It's universally appealing. Yeah, it is a little ambery. It's not sweet. It is a little balsamic. It has a certain richness in the base, but I think it's a really nice blend of citrus, aromatic notes, florals, and amber. So I think it's awesome. I'm actually really looking forward to doing a comparison video because I do think that there are some notable key differences between the two. If you would like to see a comparison video, if you feel like you'll take something of value from that, me sort of comparing the two for 10 minutes, please let me know. I would love to do that. Leave a comment down below. But in any case, I do think that this is a solid release from the house. And of course, we also had Gucci Guilty Love Edition, which came out last year, which smelled almost identical to the original. But look, it is what it is. I'm glad that there's a new fragrance, a new olfactive territory for me to explore. And I'm very happy to have had the opportunity to share my thoughts with my wonderful audience. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, it's hard to say that it's too unique because this does kind of smell similar to the Eau de Parfum, which also smells similar to the original and the Intense and Gucci Guilty Black. But what I enjoy about these flankers is that they only change things up a little bit, right? So it's a true flanker. They're not just trying to release a new formula while using the name, the aesthetics, and the identity of the original to capitalize on, the success of the new flanker, right? So they're kind of staying true to the original. And another thing that sort of cements and solidifies is that if you're a fan of the original, chances are you're gonna like the flanker, right? And that's something that's applicable to just the few fragrances that I mentioned, not Gucci Guilty Oud, not Gucci Guilty Absolute. Those fragrances smell quite different. In terms of the longevity, hey, you can expect about 8 hours on your skin. That's pretty darn good, in my opinion. Gets me through the workday. Projection on this one was great for the first hour of application. It certainly radiated beyond an arm's length with that lemon sort of orangey combination you're gonna get in the opening. Very well done. It didn't start to sit closer to the skin until about that 5 to 6 hour mark. That's when it kind of radiated within an elbow's length, and it kind of became a skin scent at that 7 hour mark. 8 hours, disappeared. In terms of the versatility, super versatile. I would go as far as saying it's even more versatile than the original and Gucci Guilty Black, because there is a little bit of like an ambery emphasis in the base. And so this is one that you can kind of wear in the colder weather, especially if it's not like freezing cold outside, but you can also wear this one in the hotter weather because it does have that bright aromatic juniper sort of fresh lavender opening with the citrus. So in terms of seasons, I think you can wear this one all year round. I think this one will appeal to somebody who's young as well as somebody who's older. I just think it smells great, very well groomed, very classy, and there is an aura of professionalism about it as well. So it checks off many, many boxes. I think that that's great. And then I think that this one can be worn formally and casually, as opposed to something like Gucci Guilty Black, which I think I would prefer to wear solely casually. In terms of the presentation, I don't know. I kind of like the matte black look of the Eau de Parfum, but I do like the shiny look of the new presentation, and I'm glad there's at least something to differentiate the two, and I'm sure it will help sales associates a lot. My final verdict on this fragrance is, I think it's a solid release from Gucci. I think it's a very easy to get along with, mass appealing, universally liked DNA of a fragrance. I think it's going to get people a lot of compliments. I think if you are not quite satisfied with the performance of the Eau de Parfum and you want to get a couple hours of longevity over the Eau de Parfum, I think the Parfum is the way to go. And I also like how they kind of amplified the appearance of the base in this fragrance to sort of make it a little bit more ambery, a little heavier, without compromising that freshness that Gucci Guilty is known for. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. That was my review of Gucci Guilty Parfum Pour Homme, brand new fragrance 2022. If you own or have tried this fragrance or the original or any of the flankers, leave a comment down below. Always love the interaction. If you took something of value from this review, support the channel by subscribing to it, enable notifications by clicking on the bell, do this, do that. You guys know the drill. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.